I'd like to welcome back to the stage Peter Hedges.
Is this on? Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. This is so unexpected. Thank you so much. Good morning. How was your morning? Isn't it great to be alive? Wow, what a beautiful theater. This is beautiful. Thank you so much for coming. So we're going to have a little conversation, and you can ask some questions, but I'll let you go first.
Okay.
Hi.
I mean, so typically I would ask about the casting, but what I really want to ask about is your process with your lead actor. Your son?
My favorite movie star or my favorite actor's son? Yeah. Well, just briefly, Lucas had been in a film I made many years ago called Dan in Real Life. He had a tiny role, and it was a traumatic experience for him to be directed by me. It really was. I kept having him do this one line where he would say, "Hi, Lily," and he had to do it 10, 12 times. And after about the third time, he's like, "Dad, stop. Do I have to do it again?" Yeah, that's what actors do. You just do it a lot. And so it was a pretty bad experience. And anyway, then he was in a 7th grade play at his school, and a casting director saw him in this play. And they called my wife. I was casting my next movie. I was in LA trying to find a kid for my 2 kids for my movie. And my wife, when they called the casting director, said, you know, we're not going to, Lucas can be in movies when he's 18, but we're not going to encourage that at all. And she called me and was kind of proud that she said no to that. And I said, well, why did you say no? And she said, well, because, you know, our friends who've had kids act, that can be very terrible. It can mess them up forever. And I said, well, and then I'm going to hell because I keep casting kids in my movies, and I don't think they're going to go to hell if it will go terribly, you know. It depends on the kid and the family, and if, you know, and you really give them a good experience. It could be a wonderful experience. I said, why don't you just ask Lucas what he wants to do? So she said, oh, that's kind of a good idea. And kind of a good idea in my house is a big deal. That's amazing. And so she went to Lucas and she said, Lucas, this casting director wants you to audition for a movie. What do you think? And he said, well, he's like 11 or 12. He said, I just have one question. And what's the question? Is Dad directing it? And she said, no. And he said, then I'm interested. And I think it's because you don't want to be in your dad's movie because it's clear you got in the movie because it's your dad. And then because of that audition he did, he got in Moonrise Kingdom and then went from there and has worked and worked and worked. So he doesn't need to do a movie with me, you know, and I think that was the only way that even became a possibility in the thinking. But I wrote this script with the real intention that I wanted it to come out right now, and I wrote it kind of wrote me, it wrote it very quickly, and Lucas wasn't even available, so it wasn't even going to be an issue. I was making it, Julia read it and said she wanted to do it, and I went to meet her, and I had a list of young actors that I thought could be really good in the part, that had their agents or either they had expressed interest in the role, and we were going to discuss them. And she said, why isn't Lucas doing this movie? And I said, I don't think he really wants to work with his dad. And anyway, I'm telling you how he got the part. I'm not even answering your question.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what the set dynamic was like.
You guys have all day? Okay. No, I'm so sorry. No, it's okay. Anyway, why can't I answer the question you ask? The set dynamic was this. We made an agreement. We had one rule. He was not going to call me Dad on the set. He called me Peter. And so the second day of filming, when Courtney B. Vance figured out that Lucas was my son, and he heard him call me Peter, he was like, hold on. What's going on? That doesn't happen. But I said, no, that's really important, that I'm obviously his father, and he's my son. But, the work is so intense. It requires everything, and I think it's a real testament to him that he could put aside the dadness. But mainly, I try in my sets to create an environment where an actor has incredible amounts of freedom, and they feel very supported, and that there may be issues with what I made, but they're all on me. My actors in my film are exquisite, every one of them. They're exquisite. And Lucas and Julia especially, they had such a great relationship. So I really tried to stay out of their way. And one of the things that I do, there are two types of directors. There are directors who I think, like a Wes Anderson, who's just one of my favorite filmmakers, I think he knows exactly what he wants his movie to look like and sound like and feel like, and he actually realizes it. And then there are people like me who love, and not that he doesn't love actors, I'm sure he does, I know he does, but I court surprise, and I try to create a set where moments can occur when actors bump up against each other. And so there are moments in this movie that so surprise me, and I rewatch the movie and I go, I watched Lucas and Julia find that together. So I just tried to create an environment where they can flourish, and that I think then we have the best chance to make a film that you can identify, it feels real, it feels like life, it feels full of surprise and humanity and complexity. So in answer to your question, for me it was a thrill to work with him. I don't want to speak for him. I don't think it was as much fun for him as it was for me. But I'm very proud of him.
You should.
Sorry for the long answer.
No, please. I'm going to open it up in a second, but I just quickly want to ask, you mentioned you wrote it with the intention of this coming out right now.
Yes.
What was the impetus behind that for you?
Look, there's no question we're living in a very divisive and conflicted time, and at the point I am in my life, I needed to take a look at the kind of work I was doing, and I decided that I wanted to commit the rest of my energies and whatever time I have left to make, for me, what is the most authentic work that I can. So it meant for me to stop adapting other people's ideas, which has been a wonderful part of my life and has helped me provide for my family, and I'm proud of all of that work, but to go back to my Gilbert Grape origins or my Pieces of April origins and write original work again. And so some of it was born out of the election, and however you feel politically, I'm very worried about what's happening to truth and the capacity for us to be very real and speak to each other and talk to each other from a place of real substance. So I just wanted to I felt like one of the things I could do, and I see a lot of my peers and younger artists especially doing this, really digging in, and you see this in a lot of the films that are here at this festival. We have to find a way to be the most real and organic and honest with each other and help each other. And this is a story that I hope will add to that conversation. It's not going to be the conversation, but hopefully it'll be a part of a bigger conversation about how do we care for each other, how do we love each other, how do we help each other. So. This person is so eager.
I know, I haven't even called for questions, and he's ready to go.
Yeah. Thank you.
There was also two issues that you brought that were very refreshing about the exchange between the mother and the doctor.
Yes.
And we don't see enough of that. And I'd like you to talk a little bit more about that.
So just for the rest of the house.
For my good friends, my very best friends up in the back, who are always the best people.
So it was the question about the doctor and the pharmacist, right? Those were the two? Right. Right.
Right.
So those two separate issues that you watched Julia go through those two incidents with them.
Right.
And can you talk about bringing those issues into
I'd love to talk about that. One of the challenges of this movie and one of the thrills of it was to set the movie in a 24-hour time period. And what I tried to do was create the most opportunity to shine a light on not only this family and the dynamics of this one family on this one day, but what are some of the causes of this that sometimes we don't think about. You know, there are some statistics that say 80% of all heroin addicts, their point of entry into heroin is prescription drugs. Now, either legally prescribed or gotten by illegal means. But there's no question that the epidemic that we presently have in North America, and is starting to seep all over the world, is related to a great deception and by the big pharma. We can't really even argue about it. It's factual. And a lot of doctors, well-meaning doctors and doctors, some who weren't so well-meaning, were complicit in a cycle of. I'm sure many of you have battled with this or know people who are, and it's all ages. And there's this idea in the late 90s that all pain could be managed, and that no one should feel any pain. And so, Holly's aware of this. And these are some of the factors that are contributing to this particular aspect of the story. And I just found an organic way, I believe, to let that be a part of that conversation without making a big speech about it. But, I'm
looking up
I hope
to
I
your
answered
friends
that.
there and see if there's a question. Back there?
Yeah, in blue.
In the
blue.
in the blue in the back.
Yes. Yes.
Julia Roberts is not available. This film has been done, and if so, what would some of your background?
So the question was, if Julia Roberts was not available, could this film have been made? And also, who are your backups for both her and Lucas?
Oh, you're killing me.
You don't have to answer that,
I'm going to say this. All of the films I've had made from Gilbert Grape on have been cast dependent. I don't tell stories, or am a part of telling any story that doesn't need an actor you care about. Because I traffic in human, sometimes you could argue, small stories that need to be made really beautifully. Otherwise, there isn't much use for them. The fact that Julia Roberts, we sent it to her and within days said she wanted to do it. And we moved up the shooting schedule so she could also do her television show, which apparently is amazing. Is this my phone? No one's calling me. Actually, it's Julia. Julia's calling. What, honey? Yeah. Sorry. No. Look, there are so many remarkable actresses in the 40 to 60 range that could have played Holly Burns. Yeah, I don't even know where to start. There's so many actresses I adore that I think are amazing. There are so many great actresses that I could pull 100 names out. But Julia Roberts, for me, that was my dream, and my dream came true.
Okay, let's go over there, yeah.
Yeah, but are any women going to ask questions? Jeez, come on. Okay, we're coming
I'll come
to
to
you.
you last. We can do 2 more. We'll do
Okay.
this one.
Okay, I'll be quicker. I'll give quicker
No,
answers.
no,
We can do 3. I swear. Watch.
So the question is about how personal the film is because it feels so intensely personal, and what inspired you to write it.
Sure. The death of a very good friend, the death of my favorite actor ever, and a family member who nearly died. There we go. Let's go.
Number 2.
We're doing speed rounds. Thank you. Great question. Maggie's mom. Great character. Yes. Yes, the comment, which was brilliant, and I'm going to repeat it, was that the Maggie's character, the mother, that she didn't have the anger that the father had, and that's a very complex character. And it's one of my favorite parts of I have many favorite parts of the movie, but I'm very proud of Rachel Bay Jones, who's a brilliant Tony-winning actress, and that scene, and that to see that side. She also says, I think, one of the most important lines in the movie, which is, we can't save them, but you'll hate yourself if you don't try. And that she gives her the key. I don't know. It just gets me. I love it. Okay. Two more, really fast, please. I may never be here again. The way things are going, this could be the end. Let's go up to our friends.
Yeah.
There's a man. It's okay. You can be a man. I'm a man. Yes. Yeah.
So the question was about the ending and whether there was discussion about letting him die and the message and the tragedy.
Yeah, there are, some people have told me it would have been a happier ending if he had died. No, a parent of an addict said I would be so much more relieved if it were dead because then it would be over. And I thought a lot about this. I don't want to overtalk the end, but for me, he's breathing. That's all he is. He's just breathing. It's just a day. We start again. I don't know if he's going to make it. I don't know if he's going to die or not die. He's just breathing. She kept him alive for a day. And they got to go again. So to me, that felt the most honest. Because as long as you're breathing, there's hope. So there's hope, but I don't think it may not go well. It often doesn't. One of the things that really inspired me in answer to your question about once I started really researching this, the number of obituaries I read about people of all ages who were doing well, who had 6 months, 2 months, a year, 5 years, and no one saw it coming, that they would relapse. And so it became really interesting to me to explore this story from the point of view of a family who has some hope and a kid who is actually starting to get it together. He just probably shouldn't have come home yet. He wasn't ready. He didn't have enough. He hadn't done enough work. But love blinds us sometimes. And anyway, I know we have to stop. I know there are other movies.
I'm sorry.
Cancel them.
Listen, I certainly hope.
I love you, Toronto.
Peter.
Hey, Daniel. I'm sorry.
Please don't make this the last time we see you on this stage. Please.
Thank you.